What is going on? This is Tyler Smith with Intrinsecus. Glad to have you back after a very long hiatus, and I do apologize. That is not like myself. Well, actually, that is myself because I did it, and I apologize. I know I keep saying I'm going to do these things weekly. Well, life got in the way. I wasn't really finding topics to talk about, but I did find one topic to talk about for this week. Hopefully you enjoy it. Hopefully you like it. It's going to be some good. It's going to be some bad. Hopefully it starts a conversation. That's what all these things are supposed to do, is just start a conversation with your friends, family, loved ones, and hopefully you can get something out of it. My Instagram did get shut down. They thought I was a bot. I like to have somewhat good cyber hygiene and cybersecurity practices. Well, with that being said, I tend to protect a lot of my personal data and encrypt things and do other things and double VPNs and all that stuff. And Instagram did not like that. So they end up purging my account. So I'm going to continue trying to put these on Apple Music or Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, the like. So still working on getting these things to streaming platforms. I have the first episode on streaming platforms already, so you can go ahead and look that one up. Let's see what else. So I'm going to be working on Rumble and a couple of other alternative social media sites because big tech is clamoring down. If you guys saw the new Twitter CEO, he said he is not beholden to the First Amendment and he believes in more censorship. So we need to go ahead and start looking at our alternative social media. That way we can have a conversation without worried about censorship. But again, do not want to get into politics with this episode, maybe later on, especially when I go on with guests. But this episode, we're going to be talking about hope. Now, a lot of you guys may be saying, hey, Tyler, like this is Intrinsecus, intrinsic motivation, finding within. Why are we talking about hope? Well, hope and faith can lead to motivation. When you don't have any motivation, some people look to faith, some people look to hope to pull them through. They look for that light at the end of the tunnel. That could be God, that could be Jesus, that could be Yahweh, that could be Allah, that could be whoever, right? Now, hope can be a good thing and hope can be a bad thing. It really can. And with this topic I'm about to bring up, you're going to kind of see why. So there was a hope experiment done not too long ago in the 1950s by a guy named Dr. Kurt Richter, I believe is the way you say his last name. So during a brutal study at Harvard in the 1950s, Dr. Richter, I believe, placed rats in this pool of water to test how long they could tread. On average, they would give up and sink around 15 minutes. But before they gave up due to exhaustion, the researchers would pluck them out of the water, dry them off, and let them get some rest. And then after a while, they'll go ahead and put them back in for a second round. Now, the second try, how long do you think they lasted? So since this is going on YouTube, I'm going to pause the video, go down in the comments, and type in and hit the comment button on how long you think they lasted. And by the way, since you guys are listening to this part of the podcast and you got this far, make sure you like, share, comment, and subscribe and pass it to all your friends so we can continue having conversations like this. Okay, so remember that the first round, they only swam for 15 minutes. And then they sunk and died. And they gave up due to exhaustion. So for round two, how long do you think they went for? What, maybe 15, 20, 25, 30? No, they went for 60 hours. I'm not lying. 60 hours of continuous swimming. The conclusion drawn was that since the rats believed that they would eventually be rescued, they could push their bodies way past the previously thought impossible, and which eventually got them to the 60 hours. Now, how can this be good and how can this be bad? We got to have a conversation about hope. So before I start getting into the bad and being a Debbie Downer and demoralizing everyone, let's start with the good. What this shows is that if you just keep pushing, you can get through it. But sometimes to know that you can push, you need to have a win. You need to have a break. You need to have a moment of relaxing. So in your life, when you're going through and you're reaching your goals and you're doing what you're doing, sometimes you do need to stop, take a breath, enjoy the scenery, enjoy the lights, the colors, and all that, and know that, hey, I made it this far. And then when you get thrown back into the tank, hey, you can keep swimming for a way longer time, because you know that there's another side to this. So this can be in studying. You study really, really hard. You prove yourself that studying worked. You get an A+ on a test, and then you keep doing it. But you study even harder. Now you have straight A's in college, straight A's in high school, straight A's in grad school, whatever it may be. You could be an Olympic weightlifter. You could be a skier. You can be whatever. You can be a marksman, and it just shows that first 15 minutes is usually hardest. And some people in that first 15 minutes of trying something new or trying to achieve a goal, some quit. It's the ones that can get through, take a break, relax, realize what they've done, and then get thrown back into the water. Those are the ones that can survive longer. Now, bad part. The part where this should start having the wheels turning in your brain to have conversations. This is the part where things are going to get kind of demoralizing. This event where an external force, i.e. a human, took a species of animal, a rat, put them in water, put a group of them in water. Some lived, some died, right? So some of them swam to exhaustion, died, and then other ones were plucked out, dried off, given time to rest, and then they got thrown back in. They swam for 60 hours, and they eventually came out. Right. So you might be asking, Tyler, how is this bad? How is this a bad thing? Well, I'm going to tell you. This can be bad at a government level, which we'll get there. This could be bad at a institutional level, which we'll get there and talk about that as well. This can be bad at the work level, which I will get there and talk about it. But let's start at the lowest level, just peer-to-peer relationships. So how many of you have had friends, boyfriends, girlfriends, significant others that they treat you like crap, they use you and abuse you, and then they stop? And they're super sweet, they're caring, they're nice, and then they go back treating you like crap, and then you think, oh, well, I know that they can be good, so I'm just going to wait it out. I have had many friends who are females who had terrible boyfriends, some of them husbands, that treated them like crap, but then out of nowhere, they'll treat them very nicely and lovely. And the women, my female friends, would be like, oh my gosh, things are better. And then once he goes back to how he's been acting, they say, well, I know what the good days look like. I've seen it with cheating. I've seen it with physical things as well. So we need to remind ourselves that we need to be careful with who we have peer-to-peer relationships with. Let's take it up to a group level or work level. How many of us have had a boss that has been a dick, a bunghole, right? And they treat everyone like crap, and then they bring donuts in. They treat everyone like crap, but then they praise somebody. They treat everyone like crap, but then they give someone a promotion, and then they bring you right back to it. The same type of peer-to-peer relationship can happen at the work level with a boss being over 5 people. So it's still peer-to-peer somewhat, but more so one person to a group. Now, this is where it can have problems institutionally and then at the government level. I don't want to get too much into politics, but let's look globally with Australia, Austria, Germany, Italy, a lot of these Western countries that said, hey, lockdown because of COVID. Okay, you guys can have a little bit of freedom. Oh no, another variant, get locked down again. Oh, you just need to wear a mask. Now wear your mask and get a vaccine. Well, people who are vaccinated, you can go back to normal. Everyone who's not vaccinated, you got to live like like you did before. Oh wait, now everyone needs to be locked out again. So there's like this up and down, up and down. Like you see the light and then you get put back in the water. You see the light and get put back in the water. Be mindful of the type of environment you are in. Be very, 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 very mindful. Be extremely mindful of what's the best way to put it? Be extremely mindful of the people you vote for, the people you endorse, and realize that just because they give you a day of sunshine today doesn't mean it makes the last 2 months of rain okay. And like that's the biggest point of today's episode, which is short. I want to just keep it short and punch it home that there are people out in this world. They can be your best friend. They can be just a friend. They can be your colleague at work. They can be your boss. They can be your mom, your dad, your sister, your uncle. They could be your mentor. They can be your college professor. They can even be the president or the prime minister of your country. Do not let people put the carrot in front of you. Do not let people push you in the water. You see people around you drown. You see people around you give up. And then you're the one who's pulled out, dried off. And you think, oh, well, things are great. Things are wonderful. And then they put you back in for 60 hours. And you sit there and you say, well, they're going to save me again. You never know. You never know if at the end of the 60 hours, you're going to be pulled back out. Just because you have the hope and you believe that because you were pulled out after 15 minutes, you'll be pulled out after 60. I believe it was in New Zealand where a politician said, we're not going to let up on some of the restrictions we're putting in place. I believe it was New Zealand. And it just kind of shows that people are willing to put you on a roller coaster. So keep it short, keep it punchy. Be mindful of who you endorse. Be mindful of who you hang around with. And just because today's sunny does not mean the last 2 months of rain is okay. Because the last 2 months of rain still could have flooded your basement. It still could have flooded your garden and all your flowers are dead. That sunshine means nothing if everything's wet and flooded. So that is today's episode. I appreciate you guys dialing in, tuning in. Make sure you like, share, comment, and subscribe and all those good things. And hopefully I'll have another topic and I'll have another episode put up in a couple of days to a week. Thanks, guys. Signing off.